Hello. I fixed my settings. Can you hear me? Can you hear the game? Let me know. Hello. All good now? Okay. Let me know if the game is too loud or anything. See, what happened was I have a thing called Mix It Up, and it does all the yippies and stuff for me, all the fun things, but I have to reconfigure it every single time I open OBS. And this time I just accidentally said game audio instead of Mix It Up audio. That's what happened. Oh my. Mr. Laurice feels that way about me? Apparently. Oh, wait, that's Edgeworth. Oh my gosh, wait. Apparently. He isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Laurice is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini. She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Laurice Deauxnim, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed... Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris, it is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That is what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth. I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself, whether or not I am fit to do the task that I have been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands. Sure, trust him, I guess. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. There's no one there! We win! The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of time, of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I'm ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant... Objection! Let's go! That's my queen. She is here. The prosecution stands ready. And you are? Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Von Karma, you say? Perchance, you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth... Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Miss von Karma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. Did you miss something? No, it's just starting. Welcome, Majestic Dirt. How are you? Oops, I missed that just now. I told you, there is no such weakling. What is that, a whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. But bailiff, remove that whip and... Hold it! I have no objection to the whip. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I'd expected to face Phoenix right here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Wah! The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Sibling banter in court, let's go. I love them. Very well, Miss von Karma. Please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Laurice Deauxnim. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. Let's go. There's no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there's a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. So it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Or is it? Oh my gosh, look at her! Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on here. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates at the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini! Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. Wah! The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? The night of the murder. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it! So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple. Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle now, are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Yes, sir. I'm just gonna press everything. What is this inner temple? Well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right? We'll be the ones asking the questions, madam. In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training. And how exactly do you help with this process? It's all quite exacting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor, watching to make sure a spoiled child studies. A tutor with a whip in your case. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple, where the murder took place? Well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. Violently? That's right. It's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training. On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again? That's right. Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off. That's crazy. You left Iris to help. With what?
What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolyte so they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes. She's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions.
Okay. I left Iris... I assume this is where we're gonna need to present the thing. Because we have Iris's testimony, I think. Iris's testimony, yeah. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all.
Well. Don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of the Hazakura Temple.
In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights-out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all.
No! She said that?
A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back. But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes. Wah! All people lie. That is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie, which means you must call your memory into question.
Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter.
Then, I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. I was helping an acolyte with the training, she was dressed she was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. That's a little sus. Because she gave Phoenix her hood. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct?
Of course. That's a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss von Karma? I'll have you note that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights-out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well.
She's so tiny. It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order in the court. Witness, you're Sister, this hood. You have a spare one around the temple, don't you? You have spare ones.
Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see. A stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned.
This is quite strange. Wow! If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human's heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this.
Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was... Oh, Mysticalese! And with that sword of all things!
Mysticalese? Very interesting.
Mysticalese was staying in the corner room, which faces out into the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
And how do you know that? You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Or, well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Why? I think it's funny. To my bath, and thought I should return, and then as I was walking, I took a look. Iris, okay. This is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant. But some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to...
The murderer who stabbed the victim with a sword. Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, as clearly as you can.
Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me all this time.
Please, don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood!
Her hood?
That's right. It's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right?
You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth. What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? Yeah? I think it is. This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony. Miles Edgeworth, if you want to hang yourself, you only need to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip. Witness, add that statement to your testimony.
No problem.
Now that you mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on. We're sure about that.
Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean because we're poor, you understand? It's our style. Yes, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out.
Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip. At least then it might bite you and not someone else.
Iris didn't have her hood on, I'm sure of it.
Very well. Now, please tell us about the victim, eh? Okay. Iris didn't have her hood on. Let's see. Protects from evil spirits. Photo of Elise, Iris's testimony. Body fell 10 feet after death. Wait, not the bikini photo? She's cute, what do you mean? Courtyard where Elise was murdered, that's fine. Okay, wait, we have this body fell 10 feet after death, so... She looks so cursed! It's the makeup. Apparently Iris helped her, so blame Iris. Stabbing must have occurred after she was pushed out of the window, okay. I'm gonna press it, and then I'm gonna present. What makes you so sure of all this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Thump. Just like that.
Your one smart sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height. It appears that the witness was not mistaken then.
Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
There's only 2 of them working there. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? It doesn't feel like she's lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client Iris, and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Except you're not one, Edgeworth. Chill. Stiglitz was... the stabbing... Okay. I'm gonna try this here. Aha! Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say, anyway.
Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed.
That's right. It says after death right here.
The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall?
Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And then she was thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Deauxnim's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, wouldn't you agree?
Well, Miss von Karma, was there any blood?
Wah! No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beer. However, if there was no blood in the room, then your claim that... Wah!
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood.
When it produces the most blood?
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound.
That is true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking.
We've come to a conclusion, then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions.
Order! I must admit that this is a probable version of events.
I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point.
It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please.
Why are you shrinking?
Witness, please, remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood.
Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we're finished here. With the whip.
Oh boy. All right.
Further details.
When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise.
Hi, Green Beansy, welcome. How are you?
I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mystic Ami was...
Mystic Ami?
Stabbing Mystic Elise through the back!
Oh boy.
This all confirms Miss von Karma's theory.
I love this case, one of the best. Me too! I'm replaying it, but it's still so good. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that. Let's go. The sword was already in place. At that time, was the victim bleeding?
Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all of this, of course. So I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think I saw any blood. Not then.
I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound. In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed? No, she didn't. Think carefully. This is very important.
It's Iris we're talking about here. I'm thinking for all I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body.
It might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too.
When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further? Yeah. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now, you say you saw the victim bleeding.
Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What did you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman getting stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day.
Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
Oh, was that important?
No idea why the game asks that you never not press further. It's true. You always say yes. More important than you can imagine. When she stiffens her face like that, she looks like the judge. No! I can't unsee that. I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out. The hilt? That's an awfully big sword. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here.
What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you.
What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. I also love how perjury only sometimes exists. Only when it's, like, for Phoenix to, like, get a penalty, right? It's only when it affects Phoenix, never the prosecution. Explain yourself. To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? It's, like, only on the 4th week of a month on a Tuesday. It's true. Only when they feel like it. No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble! I, too, may appear to be weak and frail. But I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. Are we not going to talk about how there's only blood on the tip, Edgeworth? That's... We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with a shichishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. They may be blind, to be honest, for real. They're not looking. I'm not finished. There is still one more, conclusive contradiction.
You've still got more.
This one is simple. If the sword really was thrust all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? Thank you, Edgeworth. Ah! Finally, Edgeworth is thinking! If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. No!
Order! What?
Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Took them long enough, it really did. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
What does it all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but...
Having come this far, there can only be one answer.
And that is?
The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shichishito.
What?
A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool! Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think that the sword was the murder weapon?
Well... it's because Mystic Ami was holding it.
Exactly. Someone get her a dictionary? She just really likes the word fool. If you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shichishito was the murder weapon.
Order! Ah! So maybe the Shichishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth.
That is so. I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises.
The obvious question?
Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found.
That's... Answer the question, Miss von Karma.
No evidence of that kind was found. Ooh, how sussy.
Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually.
What is it, sister?
I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was, it was just over there.
What exactly are you going on about here?
The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of.
You what? Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? Location of the weapon.
I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those.
Hi, Gray, how are you?
Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She could drive a snowmobile after all.
Why do you want Iris to be guilty so bad, Bikini? She's so convinced.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time.
Bikini is such a baller name. I love her. She's so cute.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What with my back and my age, you know.
Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph.
Snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory.
The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge.
Aha!
That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did you really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. Saw the murder at 11, and after that I went out to the main gate. Why? You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct?
Right. The one who trampled me.
It seems she's the type to hold a grudge.
There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge.
Phoenix Wright. He didn't even have his cell phone on him? He had forgotten it at home, apparently. What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand, too.
Anyway, I was really scared, and it was taking him a while to get back. So I thought I'd go out by the main gate for a spell.
Okay, but doesn't that mean Phoenix would have seen someone chuck the weapon? Or actually, no, if she had gone before, I don't know. As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited.
That's it. That's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls.
Now you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived?
Yes, of course. It was parked in front of the gate.
So, she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time. I'm not sure if this is really relevant. What should I do? We keep going. I need answers to every possible doubt. The snowmobile in question. Was it still warm at that time?
Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used.
Ah, I see. I never thought of that.
That's right. I overlooked that too. Of course you did. Then answer the question, please, witness.
I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow.
There wasn't any snow on it. Curses! It seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh? How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile? Okay. I saw tracks that indicated that the snowmobile had been used. There's no snow on it. Oh, thank you so much for the sub, Kimono! And yeah, it is my birthday next month. You remember. How are you doing? Okay, guess I just keep pressing for now. In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking.
Ah, there's a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain?
I think that's why the question was asked in the first place.
It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as could be. I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I went and crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Crunch.
70% good? Well, you know, that's better than less, right? I'll take it. Hopefully things get better, though. I'm also good. I'm enjoying this trial. I like seeing Edgeworth on the defendant's chair. Or not the defendant's chair, the defense bench. Whatever it's called. Crunch.
I haven't been able to find the courage to write anything since then. Anyway, the killer must have used it.
Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes.
It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile. I have to concede that it is more than enough time. Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth? Well, it would have been possible, time-wise. One element remains out of place here. Oh, and what would this mystery element be? The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of a murder weapon when there are other methods? Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss von Karma. Wah! Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor? What? She's as over the top as always. Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth. Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there is surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in this flawed account. Oh boy, okay. Well, I didn't press this. You were sure about the time?
Yes, I was worried about it after all.
Why was that?
Because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in the bath all night now, could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hazakura Temple.
Your estimation of the time seems reliable, at least. Please continue, sister. Okay, I went out to the main gate and then I saw tracks. Okay. Tracks that the snowmobile had been used. I mean, that should be fine. Snow. Lightning strikes. I mean, nope, okay. Indicated the snowmobile had been used. There was a snowmobile, yep. Already gone, what should I do? Press further. Answers, was it warm? There wasn't any snow on it. Snowmobile was the only thing not covered in snow. Saving and loading is the best Ace Attorney feature. Facts. I abuse it. Seems highly likely. How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge? It takes 15 minutes to walk, but less than 5 using one of those. Okay, wait. So if it happened at 11, where's their weather data? It stopped snowing after, or it stopped snowing before 11. So it wouldn't have had any snow on it as long as it was used before 11, right? So tracks indicated it had been used. And then it takes 15 minutes. I'm gonna present it here, because this is where they were talking about that there was no snow on it. No? Oh boy. Here we go. Okay. Note to Iris. Snowmobile. There is no snow on it, this is true. Courtyard, there are no tracks. Doesn't have any spiritual power. I mean, it takes 15 minutes with less than 5. Maybe they threw the weapon in the Eagle River and came back. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile. Maybe they threw the weapon in the Eagle River and came back. Wow, that's not 10 minutes. That's fine. My brain chugging. At 11, so they'd be back by 11:10. Bikini was passed out for like 10 minutes, so it's fine. Because at this thing, we're waiting tonight at 10. Nope, that's a 10. I mean, I feel like it has to be this statement because it had the press more. But I'm honestly stumped, so I guess Google it is. We're at trial part 1. Present tracks photo on 5th or 6th. Okay. When are they saying Iris used it? They're saying it was between the time that Bikini passed out and woke up. I see where they're going with this now, and I did, like, consider that, but I just didn't know what to do with it, so... alas. Because there's only one set of tracks. It's fine. Our first Google of the day, and we're almost an hour in, so that's not too bad. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge, and those from coming back.
Ah, you're right!
You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it? No ma'am, it does not. We checked this already. I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in her theory? The idea that the snowfall covered one set of the tracks. Objection. The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss von Karma, that is impossible. Would you care to explain? Eh? What the heck? Stream elements, hello? Why is there a rude index finger suddenly currently pointing in my general direction? Very rude fingers. No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge. In order to dispose of the murder weapon, the outgoing tracks were erased by snow. Or so claims Miss von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. We checked that already. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks to have been made after that time to have been covered up. Ah! Order, order. Very well then. It looks like Miss von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Wah! It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct? True! No. You've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast. This is actual data. Gah! Forecast data. All weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m. It's true. We cannot be totally sure, eh? But what? How did she pull that off? It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. But we can. 'Cause looky here, sir. No snow on the body. Easy peasy. Of come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I, too, cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
Huh. You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Graphic death, yeah. Do I need a content warning? You think I need a content warning? Surely not, right? It's not colored. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where's your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right, but proving that is...
incredibly easy. We want to know whether it was snowing or not. This photo will tell us everything. Of course. I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception.
And that is...
the victim herself, Miss Laurice Deauxnim. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be two sets of tracks.
Ah! Order. Just what are you... Aha! Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There's only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean, that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple.
But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot. That sounds right. They like to ignore planting evidence, don't they? Yeah. It's tragic, really. But, what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple... oh my gosh, my voice. I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple... it was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that isn't possible.
Order in the court. What does this all mean?
So then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be two sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. Never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble.
I think we've learned all we can from this witness. Yes, I've nothing more to add. I've told you everything that I know. But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile.
A witness, huh?
Was there no one out walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge that night? I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do. That's a shame.
Hold on. Something is coming to me. An idiot may have well gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor, actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us.
Really? You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are two things about him that do come to mind.
Which are?
First, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being?
This individual that I am thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot.
Our favorite idiot, that's right. Little dummy. Bring him here. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you are talking about?
Laurice Deauxnim.
This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc de Leduc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting.
This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim, Laurice Deauxnim. Butts, it's him!
Our student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder?
That's... Could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom.
Let's go. Summon this youth as a witness immediately.
I have no choice, do I? I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him.
Very well.
Larry. You may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you. Let's go!
The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, court is now in recess.
Let's go! Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not really sure what to say. Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene. Alright, I'll help you in any way I can. First, about that night. You really didn't go to the Inner Temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying. Mr. Edgeworth, it's just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple.
Until the incident occurred, you say? Very interesting wording choice there.
Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile? There's only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me. So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge? I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. You are so annoying. Iris. I can't tell you about that yet. Yet. Not until her safety is confirmed. Her? The safety of the Acolyte.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, girl.
The Acolyte, huh? She must be talking about Maya. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Laurice Deauxnim? No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life. As I thought. No psycho locks. Very well. It is my job to get the truth. To get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough.
She's got 5 whole psycho logs. What does that say about her, Edgeworth? Court will now reconvene. Miss von Karma, where is the witness? During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery.
Suspicious behavior?
Psyche locks are so fun but so annoying at the same time. They are, it's true. It's true.
I like them until they decide not to let you unlock them, and then it gets really annoying. I have beef. No spoilers, since we haven't gone over the Apollo games yet, but you know. Very satisfying, yeah. He was sketching something, very intensely. Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained? He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip. I can only presume that his intention was to capture you. Ah! Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Laurice Deauxnim, I hope you're ready. Get in here. What's this so real? I would also like to draw Franzi. It seemed that whip is going to see plenty more use today. He's so happy. Ouch! Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey! I was just artistically rendering. Ouch! You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look! I'm nothing but a fledgling artist training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use the technical term for the color, viridian.
Larry, this isn't an art store now, is it?
I know! I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it?
Working in the fields. I presume you wanted to say field work. I hope.
That's it! Thanks, buddy!
It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence.
I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. You see? See, I got nothing to do with this trial at all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or, to use the technical term, Crimson Lake. Ouch! 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 Stop your pathetic babbling and testify like a man.
Isn't sketching in court, unless you're a court artist, illegal? It probably is. But as we know, he's only graduated junior high, so... maybe no one told him.
Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now. This is too much for me.
What I saw. Let's go.
I was at that lodge out in the mountains looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I, Edgy?
This poor guy.
Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers during your testimony. I'm just a nobody. Nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation? Or anything else?
Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex.
He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people.
Yeah, that's right. I bind everything. Every case. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you eternally unhappy.
Well then, let us proceed with the cross-examination. With no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. Oh boy. Was at the lodge, looking at the stars. I watched the bridge a number of times.
A number of times? How many?
Maybe 5 times? I went once every 20 minutes.
Which means you spent almost 2 hours at Heavenly Hall that night.
You bet. Real love is about waiting with your heart in your hands.
Love, you say?
It was this man's intention to summon the defendant to the small shack, using this blackmail letter.
Blackmail? No, that was simply a product of overflowing love. Ow!
You huffy-puffy, loosey-goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness. So what did you see? I hope for your sake you saw a snowmobile. You huffy-puffy, loosey-goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness, eh?
Well, you see...
Being called those names doesn't seem to bother him at all.
She unlocked new words. He's not foolish.
Larry, you really didn't see it.
Hey! No need to hit your desk. I can hear you. I didn't see it. I didn't see a snowmobile.
Larry, say snowmobile for me, please.
snowmobile.
If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering like you just flew over a cuckoo's nest?
Shut up! What is this? I don't know. Don't ask me.
Self-report. He's so sus. It's so sad.
It seems that I'll need to start from a more obvious contradiction. I'm going to strike the blow that will finally get him to spill the beans.
Didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either.
You didn't meet anyone.
That's right, because I've got nothing to do with this. And I'm just here to buy some Viridian paint, okay? Come on, I expect to see those crimson-like faces now!
It would appear that simply pressing him isn't going to be enough, Mr. Edgeworth.
Indeed. It seems that he's going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I don't want this guy to cost us any more time. I need to slice through his obvious contradictions and keep things moving along.
I believe in butts, you do? He was at the lodge, it's true. I walked the bridge a number of times, I didn't see a snowmobile, I didn't see anyone by the bridge that night either. I mean, he saw Phoenix. But, like, is that what we want to know? Photo of Elise, crime. I mean, we could try, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic, and you cause all sorts of trouble.
I'm sorry.
But, having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction.
Edgy, are you
Trying to console me? It certainly doesn't sound that way to me.
However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create.
Ah, you're totally pinning this on me.
Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts.
That's right, me in the flesh.
Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you will continue to cause these incidents. That reality will not change.
But what do you want me to do then?
Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night. Testifying truthfully about this one issue is all I need from you.
Edgy, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it! I'll testify! Well, I'm not sure this'll go especially well.
I'll ask again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder? It's time. What I saw part 2.
I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick.
Certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you? So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire?
It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burned out, like almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what caused Nick to fall.
What did you say?
Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening. He just caught a cold.
I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination. I think he's pretty lucky that he didn't die. But sure. Went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been 10:30. I was okay.
This light was, of course,
Lightning! Like kapow! Like a slap from Naomi, honestly. A big bada boom! Ah!
Or a little like that.
That's more like a punch from Miranda.
Witness, did you actually see the lightning hit the bridge?
Well, I was a bit startled by the flash of light, so...
Seeing that, what did you do?
What do you think? I was burning up as well from the fire in my heart.
And that's why you went to take a look at the bridge?
Well, to be honest, it was freezing cold, so at first I thought, forget it, I'm not leaving my covers. But it had pretty much stopped snowing. So, I don't know, I changed my mind.
I'm not sure I care for the forget it attitude you had at first, witness.
You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that?
The lightning fell, and then the bridge caught fire. Maybe around 5 minutes. I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out.
How far is the small shack you were in from the bridge?
Hold on, well, it had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk.
And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there?
Like I've recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare.
Well, should I press him for a little more info?
Why didn't you call anyone, and why didn't you go to the bridge? Or why did you go to the bridge? Okay.
So you suddenly thought you had to check out the bridge. Does this mean that you initially had no intention of doing so?
Well, yeah, I guess it does. It was really cold. I didn't really want to go out there.
If that's the case, why did you change your mind? I would like to hear your reasoning.
In which case, please give testimony to that effect, witness. My reasoning? Okay, reasoning is it?
Thought I'd never get another chance to see something so big burning.
So you decided to go and see what was happening?
That's right, we're talking about a massive suspension bridge burning to high heaven. That's not something you see every day. A real like, really special?
Can we really trust a witness who is unable to pronounce spectacle?
Life seems to love hitting this poor witness below the belt. Well, my motto is to hit life back as hard as I can.
I'll give you a few hits too if you'd like, with my whip.
You told me about the burning bridge yesterday, but there's still something that doesn't quite fit. It looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth.
Okay. Dusky Bridge is on fire. Okay. We're gonna see if we can get that other statement. Why didn't you call anyone?
Larry, let me ask you one thing.
What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face?
Why didn't you call anyone?
Huh? What do you mean?
Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try to tell someone. There is a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct?
Well, of course I thought of doing that.
So, let's hear why you didn't.
Huh? Yeah, okay. My reason. It isn't that I didn't try to tell anyone. I just didn't have time to, okay?
I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later.
You claim to have arrived at the bridge at the same time as Wright.
Yeah! I thought I'd better tell someone about this. But then Nick came up yelling about murder. It totally made me forget about the bridge. The fire was pretty much out by then anyway.
What's this feeling? I suddenly have a terrible case of unease.
It was after contacting the police that Phoenix Wright fell from the bridge, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, more or less.
You told me about the burning bridge yesterday.
Okay.
What did you do out there in the cold for an hour and a half?
Well, if you really must know, I was busy being excited, I guess. Excited? Dare I even ask? I set the meeting time as 10 p.m., right? But I couldn't wait, and I thought she might come early too.
Well, it appears she didn't come at all in the end.
Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they?
Shut up! Don't go picking my fond memories apart! Anyway, I was getting a little worried. I thought maybe Iris had lost her way. So every 20 minutes or so, I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her.
Playing, bed, looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. Okay. Lightning struck Dusky Bridge at 10:45. Around 30 minutes passed between the fires starting and going out. Interesting. I went right away, huh? I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. Very interesting. Because by that time, the bridge was almost done burning. Aha.
Your very existence being a contradiction. I'm not sure if you can grasp this or not.
What the hey, Edgy? You make me sound like some sort of alien.
But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time.
I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those.
Me too! This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is this correct?
Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but no, more or less.
I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say that it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there around 11 p.m.
All sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act.
That is impossible.
What do you mean?
11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There is no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time.
Excuse me, I have an objection.
You do?
Hedgie, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry, I'm Laurice Deauxnim. Yeah!
It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11, in which case it could have been earlier than that.
Watch your footing there, Miss Franziska von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m.
And why not?
It is clearly written here that in the weather data report, it took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m.
Which means, what exactly?
Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m., but Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during those missing 15 minutes?
I feel like I just got brutally woken up by toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all. Pinch me.
Order, order, order. Orga! So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem.
Yeah, not much of a problem at all.
Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there's a phone right next to it. Why, then, did you not report the accident?
Yes, witness. Why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn?
And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty.
That's what it sounds like.
Ah, but this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction.
Hedgie, I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude.
Just as I thought. You've been playing with us all this time.
Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all?
Yes.
I may really say it this time. Everything!
Then say it. Very well. I have a terribly bad feeling about this. However, let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for the 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness?
It's time. The missing 15 minutes.
I'm a Deauxnim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out, and then he came running up.
Artiste.
I suppose artists can be a strange folk.
That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch.
Including the truth from the sound of it.
Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts?
I love his kitty face. Yes, he looks like a little monkey.
He's so silly. I love Larry.
Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains.
And what would that be?
This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think that he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him.
Ha ha ha! You'll regret this, Edgy.
Alright. I'm an artist. I was sketching. Okay.
Sketching. The burning bridge.
The burning bridge and everything that came with it.
What? came with it.
You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this. That sketch of mine is... Gah!
Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
That does indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth. What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted there.
We're gonna look at it. Gimme.
Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch. Please?
Well, even I couldn't have imagined it'd turn out like this.
Imagine what?
That Laurice Deauxnim's debut would take place here, today, like this! Ouch!
Show it. Now.
Okay, but steel yourselves. This is the world of Laurice Deauxnim.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Well... So this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Karma.
Yes, well, he's so real, he is. It's a better drawing than I expected.
Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames, I really did.
Yes, I'm sure you did. This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry.
What?
The burning bridge is fine. But what is that unfortunate-looking figure?
You spotted that? I thought you might.
However much I might want to ignore it, I can't.
It's Iris, of course! Iris! I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan it for our future, you know. What would have happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that?
Larry, please answer this next question honestly.
Okay.
Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames?
Yup, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist. A real artist.
You?
Hi? That girl. She's really high up in this picture. Wow. What was that for?
This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this.
She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of a mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth.
What? Me?
This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness. Miles Edgeworth.
Let's get back to the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here.
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron.
Well, what'd you think of my debut piece? Get that thing away from me!
Horrible sketch of what he saw the night of the crime. It's not bad, though.
Now hurry up and cross-examine him.
I'm an artist sketching. I saw Iris flying, her white hood fluttering. Very interesting. White hood, you say?
Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care.
In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that it's the truth.
If that is truly the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain.
What might that be?
That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant Iris.
What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Whack!
A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim?
Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct?
Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. Ah!
It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench.
Larry, there is something you need to be made aware of.
Never mind, she deleted her vocabulary. It was just that one time. Maybe we could call it a promotion. Larry was promoted to fool after all the other words she used.
On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight?
What are you talking about?
I think you understand what I mean just fine.
Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood?
What?
Hedgie, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick, you dog?
Nick gets all the ladies. I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded, straight into the garbage. What is it now, witness?
It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Hedgie, today's the day I get to completely stupefy you.
What? What is the meaning of your outburst, witness?
I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence.
Definitive
evidence?
Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge. And I, Laurice Deauxnim, shall prove it.
I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch, and show us your evidence that the nightmare was actually a reality.
Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm going to feed you a whopping serving of pain.
You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me.
Proof that Iris flew. Yippee!
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night.
Oh, Larry.
Crystal sphere? This one, pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers.
Are we just going to ignore the blood? That sphere. Where did you find it?
Let me see. Around here somewhere? Looks about right.
And it was half buried in the snow.
It had pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge.
The court accepts this crystal sphere.
That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward.
There's something on it.
Oh my, it's blood.
What? Blood?
Has blood on it, let's go.
You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore.
Didn't you want to be called Laurice Deauxnim only a few minutes ago?
Can I just submit evidence that the crystal belonged to someone else? I'm sure no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. No, not this. Not this, not this. It's right there. Can I just present this? I guess I can.
Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere.
There was? Who was the stupid idiot?
Miss Laurice Deauxnim, the mentor to a stupid idiot.
The victim?
I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere.
Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! Ouch!
A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch.
They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff, found at the scene of the crime.
Ah! The crystal sphere! It's gone! What? 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 Just what does this mean?
If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either.
That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Laurice Deauxnim. A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that! I saw it with my own 2 eyes! And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring.
You honestly believe that?
Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Laurice Deauxnim was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all.
Miss Franziska von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns.
Why are you pointing at me?
The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe that it has nothing to do with the case.
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There's blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? No! All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe that it is related to the case.
She makes a valid point. There is no evidence that Laurice Deauxnim left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely.
Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere.
Oh, Lord.
If it is not related to the case, then the witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth.
Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place?
Half covered in snow. It was still snowing when Larry went. And it snowed from 7 to 10:50. Lightning struck the bridge at 10:45. So it was still snowing then. I'm gonna say yeah. But I saved, so it's fine.
Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it. That's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case.
You'll do what? That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he's cornered.
That should come as no surprise, because right now, I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered.
I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. I'm scared. Is it just the weather report again? Are we gonna spam this thing? Aw, frick. One more chance. The time of the murder and when the crystal sphere was dropped, I need to find proof that the latter happened first.
doesn't have it here. Half covered in snow. 10 to 11 p.m. Cat is napping on me. My mood is improving. Good. I'm glad. I mean, it has blood on it. It has blood on it. Okay, cool.
This crystal sphere. It was half buried in the snow, correct?
That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing then, it would have been game over. Snow would have totally covered it.
That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear.
What?
When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly.
Snowing.
On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body.
Ah!
Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder.
What?
Order, order, order! On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose.
What? What could that have been?
This sphere. There's some blood on it, isn't there?
Why is Edgeworth fighting Von Karma? Where's Phoenix? Phoenix is in the hospital. Sick with the cold. Edgeworth is taking his place for now.
Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness.
Yeah.
It's new.
Just who is the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma?
Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
That's not exactly true now, is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body.
That's the same thing!
No, it isn't. You said it yourself.
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
You're forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Laurice Deauxnim's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest that someone carried the body all that way?
Made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible.
Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple. Where's the snowmobile? Yes, sir.
On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could have also been used to carry a body.
Order, order, order! Gah! This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin?
You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation.
What?
Where was the victim, Laurice Deauxnim, really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean?
Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity.
They're so mean.
However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point.
Rip Larry, he's so sad.
Edgy!
Thank you!
That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Grr! Grr!
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner.
Excuse me?
There was one reason, and one alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright.
Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have had Francie whipping me all day. Ouch!
Miles Edgeworth. Angry, Renary?
I'm not angry, I'm just acting. I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel.
A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by.
What a shame, Francie!
This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness.
I demand satisfaction.
He's dead. Should move to Hollywood, oh please.
I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the question it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I'm counting on you on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution.
Interesting. Usually the defense is not allowed to. Alright then.
With this, the rest is up to you, Wright. Court is now adjourned.
Alrighty. Larry did a number on my voice though, so I think we will be ending it here today. So we will continue the investigation next time. Now, see, I can send out a raid. Alright, I think we are going to send a raid out to Viking King Draven. Was playing Left 4 Dead 2. So if you guys want to stick around for that, awesome. And if not, thank you guys so much for coming, and hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!